The Dragon of Eden. The Dragon of Eden. Speculation on the evolution of human intelligence. Carl Sagan. ACOB BRONOWSKI was one of the small group of men and women in any age who find all of human knowledge, the arts and science, philosophy and psychology interesting and accessible. He was not confined to a single discipline, but ranged over the entire panorama of human learning. His book and television series, The Ascent of Man, are a superb teaching tool and a remarkable memorial. They are, in a way, an account of how human being and human brain grew up together. His last chapter episode called The Long Childhood described the extended period of time, longer relative to other lifespan than for any other species, in which young humans are dependent on adults and exhibit immense plasticity, that is, the ability to learn from their environment and their culture. Most organisms on Earth depend on their genetic information, which is pre-wired into their nervous system to a much greater extent than they do on their extra genetic information, which is acquired during their lifetimes. For human beings, and indeed for all mammals, it's the other way around. While our behavior is still significantly controlled by our genetic inheritance, we have through our brain a much richer opportunity to blaze new behavioral and cultural pathways on short time scales. We have made a kind of bargain with nature. Our children will be difficult to raise, but their capacity for new learning will greatly enhance the chance of survival of human species. In addition, human beings have, in the most recent few tenths of a percent of our existence, invented not only extra genetic but also extra somatic knowledge. Information stored outside our bodies, in which writing is the most notable example. The time scale for evolutionary or genetic change is very long. A characteristic period for the emergence of one advanced species from another is perhaps 100,000 years. Very often the difference in behavior between closely related species, say lion and tigers, do not seem very great. An example of a recent evolution of organ system in human is our toes. The big toe play an important function in balance while walking. The other toes have much less obvious utility. They are closely evolved from finger-like appendage for grasping and swimming, like those of arboreal apes and monkeys. This evolution constitutes a re-specialization, the adaptation of an organ system originally involved for one function to another and quite different function, which required about 10 million years to emerge. The feet of the mountain gorilla have undergone a similar, although quite independent evolution. But today we do not have 1 million years to wait for the next advance. We live in time when our world is changing at an unprecedented rate. While the changes are largely of our own making, they cannot be ignored. We must adjust and adapt and control or we perish. Omnian extragenetic learning system can possibly cope with the swiftly changing circumstances that our species faces. Thus, the recent rapid evolution of human intelligence is not only the cause of, but also the only conceivable solution to the many serious problems that beset us. A better understanding of the nature and evolution of human intelligence just possibly might help us to deal intelligently with our unknown and perilous future. I'm interested in the evolution of intelligence for another reason as well. We now have at our command, for the first time in human history, a powerful tool, the Large Radio Telescope, which is capable of communication over immense interstellar distances. We are just beginning to employ it in a holding and tentative manner, but with a perceptibly increasing pace to determine whether other civilizations, one unimaginably distant and exotic world, may be sending radio messages to us. Both the existence to those other civilizations and the nature of the message they may be sending depend on the universality of the process of evolution of intelligence that has occurred on us. Conceivably, some hints or insight helpful in the quest of extraterrestrial intelligence might be derived from an investigation of the evolution of terrestrial intelligence. I was pleased and honored to deliver the first ACOB BRONOWSKI Memorial Lecture in Natural Philosophy in November 1975 at the University of Toronto. In writing this book, I have explained the substantiality, the scope of the lecture, and have been written provided with the exhilarating opportunity to learn something about subject in which I am not expected. I found irresistible the temptation to synthesize some of what I learned into a coherent picture and to tender some hypotheses on the nature and evolution of human intelligence that may be novel, or that at least have not been widely discussed. The subject is a difficult one. While I have formal training in biology and have worked for many years on the origin and early evolution of life, I have little formal education in, for example, in anatomy and physiology of the brain. Accordingly, I prefer the following ideals with a substantial degree of trepidation. I know very well that many of them are speculative and can be proved or disproved only on the anvil of experiment. At the very least, this inquiry has provided me with an opportunity to look into an interesting subject. Perhaps my remarks will stimulate others to look more deeply. Okay.